Hi guys, I haven't been on for ages. I'm so sorry. I have been doing other stuff, a lot of it to do with the ketogenic diet and other kind of experimentation. So that is what I've been spending my time on. I wasn't ready to come back and make another video until I had a bit of the experimentation done because as I go through my ketogenic journey, I also want to investigate other things that I find out along the way from non-keto people, from carnivore people, from all sorts of different strands that are joining to me in the middle in keto, but some of them very much kind of disassociate, I suppose, for it. So one of the things was to look a little bit more into carnivore, which I just find those people are a bit crazy. I stopped watching Dr. Ken Berry because of his carnivore kind of craze. He has modified that a little bit now to just bring back in the keto community. He is carnivore himself, which is fine. But I find the carnivore people are very anti-vegetables, very crazy, kind of like you can't do anything else. You can never let anything bad pass your mouth. You just can't live like that. I'd rather have a few toxins than have absolutely nothing going on because, I mean, what way is that to live? Like, I would never be able to never have a taco fries again because it's going to take 5 minutes off my life. You know, I think you can be very purist as well and very judgy, which I sound like I'm being totally judgy. However, I will say if I had an autoimmune issue or some kind of chronic illness, if I would do carnivore. It's very severe to do straight away, but if you wanted to really take action, carnivore is good for the gut and good for the body, and you won't have any of the kind of flub or whatever which you get if you eat carbs occasionally, which I do, like a McDonald's or whatever, like I've said before, or alcohol, like I've said before. So you have these kind of pure. So I wanted to do some investigating into maybe I was wrong. I made a kind of, I did do carnivore for a few months in 2023. It's really good, very good for weight loss. There's no downside really, except socialize, living in the world. It's completely kind of crap for that, I guess. So that's that part. So I also was doing more experimentation with supplements. And one of the ones that I became more curious about were the amino acids, creatine, which is all the rage. Not so, the creatine was apparently all the rage, always with people that were going to the gym, which I had never heard of. I would have just associated all those powders that they took at the gym as being like inflating your muscles. Apparently, creatine does kind of do that. I have discovered it does do that itself, so I take it on a limited basis. Very good for brain health. It's a very widely studied uh, supplement. It's been around for a long time. It was always associated with the gym because it does build up your muscles. I definitely have much bigger muscles since started taking creatine. But and I'm heavier, even though I don't feel fatter, but I'm heavier, so I think a lot of muscle gain. So if you want to stay, if you're female and you want to stay away from looking a bit bulky, I would say stay off the creatine. However, now and again, I have noticed with some of the supplements that I'm very sharp. I feel very sharp. Plus, I upped my dose of omega-3 fish oil, which I was already taking, but I've upped the dose, and I noticed my night driving is brilliant. So I have noticed only improvements. Any supplements over there? I started kind of early on with supplements, but not so much. And then I started introducing ones, taking out ones, and some of the ones I've taken out, some of the ones I've put in. I've introduced recently Macular, which is to protect your eyes from macular degeneration, which I didn't even know was a thing. I vaguely remembered something about it from biology in school, the macula or whatever, but really had no big idea about it. I've introduced, liposomal glutamine. Now this, if you are like me and you are not perfect, you occasionally eat some seed oils on a McDonald's, or you have some alcohol now and again. I go through phases. Definitely, I have been much worse this year. Christmas just seemed to drag on till next Christmas 2025. So I have had more alcohol than I would have had in the last year and a half previous to that, because I was on much stricter keto. It's definitely better for the weight and stuff like that. But I had heard about glutathione really early in my journey, but didn't take any notice. You know, there's so much information when you start learning about keto that you can't take it all in. So it was only recently that I decided, I can't remember, was I bored? Did I accidentally watch a podcast? I had actually already watched it and liked it probably a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago. And I said, right, I'll try that. So I ordered this on iHerb. It's made by Codage, liposomal glutathione. And apparently this is the best way to take it. Now, some people claim that this does not get absorbed. Now, the reason it's liposomal glutathione is that if you just buy glutathione, it doesn't get absorbed, except in a tiny percentage. Whereas they put it in a tiny little sphere, a lipid, it gets further down the digestive tract and gets more likely to be absorbed. I have noticed a significant difference. I'm on it about a week, and now some people say only take it, say 3 months out of 12, whatever. I'm not sure. I'm just experimenting at the moment, but I have been taking it for about a week. I have noticed a substantial difference in energy levels in terms of 100% maintain energy levels, like no drop whatsoever. Perfect sleep. I always kind of measure these things as to, okay, if I have more energy here, am I not sleeping as well? Are there other things that are impacted? So I am just such a hound for knowledge. So if any of you are like me, a little bit imperfect, it's an antioxidant. I actually think this works. I have seen this doctor online. He's a pharmacist. I cannot remember his name. He says that it works. He has a spray product. He said that it's really only absorbed properly through the skin. I haven't tried that. I'll be like Superwoman if I try that. But I have noticed the difference. And what I do is I tend to introduce one thing at a time. So there were... previous to that, I had a period of low energy, and I was kind of wondering why. And I had run out of my vitamin B complex, but also I was buying a very low quality vitamin B from Aldi or Lidl or somewhere like that, maybe even Tesco. I can't remember, but it was like cheap one, right? And I noticed that it was a few weeks. Sometimes you run out of stuff and you don't bother ordering it again or whatever. So I had bought a more expensive one that you get, and you put it, I think it's B-line, and you put it into water. And I noticed such a difference. This was about 2 months ago. I took the vitamin B complex and my energy levels went up, and I realized that maybe the vitamin B I was taking, number one, wasn't the best, but also I hadn't had vitamin B for about a month. And I wouldn't say I was like completely dead and alive, but I was just that tiny little drag. So that sorted that out. And then a month later, I introduced this, and I had a couple of glasses of wine at the weekend. And apparently, I didn't know this until I rewatched my video and then watched more and more and more and read up about it, that when you drink, glutathione is very important antioxidant. It must be present, but when you drink alcohol, it depletes it entirely. And this is really good for your liver and for recovering from that. And I did notice the difference, like, not saying that I'm some kind of alcoholic or anything, but I do like a glass of wine now and again. I can go for months. I think I went for the entire year of 2024 almost without any alcohol. And at the moment I'm fasting. I have just gone over 37 hours, 37 and a half hours. I'm going to try and fast for 72 hours. I'd like to fast for a bit longer. I did 60 hours last week. I was so disappointed. I gave up. I want to get to 72 because that really is the best fasting amount for autophagy, which is self-eating, where your body starts recycling its own cells, and the release of stem cells. So if you do have any kind of damage to your body, your stem cells can be recirculated and rejuvenated, and new ones created to heal those parts. I have to say, even though I'm a little bit heavier than I was in 2024, and I've introduced supplements. I've improved my diet a little bit. I am eating a little bit more, partly to experiment with what does the ketogenic diet do when you eat more than, say, twice a day, which would have been my norm on, say, in 2024. And definitely you will gain weight, more calories, I guess. My body is, I did a 17-day water fast in March of this year. You can see some of my videos on it. And what the body does, if it has no food for 17 days, it will start to be very sensible with the energy that you have. So your use of calories will get less and less and less, because it's like there's no food coming in and she has only so much fat. But believe me, I had plenty fat for way more than 17 days. I think I would last 40 days and 40 nights out in the desert, no problem, with no food. So this time on the 72-hour fast, or the hopeful 72-hour fast, I'm drinking coffee. I did black coffee last week. I can't stand it. I'm doing coffee with cream, which is not ideal apparently. There is no real clean-cut research about it, but I need the crutch. I am that imperfect. I definitely can do a water fast. The 17-day water fast I did was with black coffee. I hated every minute of it. But it was, did I feel well afterwards? About a week afterwards, I felt incredible. And I have felt incredible ever since. I will say that now. Of course, I've introduced supplements. I definitely think this one is making a difference. I have a few others, like I said, I've introduced as well. If I don't feel a supplement is doing anything, I usually remove it. And I have a core lot of supplements that I take, like a multivitamin, electrolytes, fish oil for definite, especially when I see so much dementia. This is supposed to be really good for Parkinson's. I'm not associated with this crowd or anything, but I just got it on iHerb, which is my new mecca. So I don't think Santa Claus will be bringing me anything luxurious. I think it'll be coming from iHerb. But recently I have been doing a little bit more. Some people don't agree with supplements. You will see some keto people in Carnivore, whatever, they will say you don't need to take supplements if you have the right diet. We don't have the right diet. I do not have the right diet. I do not have all these organic vegetables. I am cooking en masse sometimes with the cheapest beef. I don't know if everything, I definitely feel better on the supplements. I feel better. I can't say I feel nothing. I feel better. I feel sharper. I feel healthier. I feel like I can jump out of bed. I feel like really energetic. I feel, I just feel it. I feel incredible. Like when I started taking this after 2 days, I was saying that I felt like I was Superwoman. That's how good I felt. And, I don't know. Some people say it doesn't absorb that well, but partly because it's in the liposphere, it does. I don't know. So that's it. Yes, I am going to continue to experiment. I've stopped kind of the creatine a little bit, but it's supposed to be really, really good for brain health. So if you have any worries about dementia and stuff, but what I would say, 1,000,000%, if there was such a thing, is that diet is everything, regardless of all the supplements. If you want to stay healthy, you have to go low carb. You have to go low carb for a period of time. Yes, you can have hedonistic periods, as I do myself, of several weeks of eating complete crap. Even at the weekend, what did I have? I had a bagel, toasted bagel, ham, cheese, pickle sandwich. It was my own version of McDonald's because I couldn't get to McDonald's. So I have no problem with eating carbs now and again. I stay away from porridge, rice, potatoes, any of those things. But if I'm out and I want to have chips, I've gone out for that. I don't tend to go out. I might have a glass of wine at home, but I don't tend to go out much. But if I go out and I want to have chips and, taco fries, whatever, a burger, I'll have it. I'll come home and take it. I'll have it because I want to live in this world full of delicious, wonderful things. However, for the most part, I also don't want to get sick in the long term. Of course, I'm going to get sick sometimes, but I don't want to be in my older age feeling like crap, feeling like I'm going, not that I'm even a burden on the health system. I really don't care about, it's not that I don't care about that, but it's like, I myself want to be able to move around, do this, that, and the other thing. It's not that I want to go on some roller coaster or jump out of a plane. No, definitely not. I want to be able to get up and brush my own hair and dress myself and do all that kind of stuff, because aging happens no matter what, no matter how many people we watch online. Oh, they look so young and amazing. Aging happens. It's just part of the process. My feeling is I don't want to get a chronic illness. I don't want to get cancer. I don't want to get so many other things. Recently, somebody has gotten macular degeneration. Like, those things are avoidable with a low carb diet. So the doctor won't tell you that. The doctor doesn't know, probably. So we are, I suppose, dependent on people that we think are in the know, but it's very important to find out yourself. And for me, I feel amazing. My blood work is brilliant. And I can't argue with any of that, but I definitely don't want to get some of those chronic illnesses, and the way, even my kidney function. I increased it hugely from my first blood test, which I took after 6 months of keto, which was unfortunate. I didn't take one at the very beginning. But somebody else took a blood test that before they started keto, and they increased their kidney function by a good bit, their GFR. So it's definitely working, and definitely I would watch Dr. Thomas Seyfried about the cancer being a metabolic illness. I 100% agree with that. I'm really excited about what's happening in the States. I think Robert F. Kennedy has a lot of good things coming down the track. Of course, he's going to be pressurized from all sides, but that's good for us. I think the food pyramid does need to change. I'm not going to change it. I mean, it is what it is. I don't really care, I guess. But any kind of institution has to follow that. Of course, there might be a little bit more expense to cooking more meat products or more nice vegetables or whatever. So it has to be your own decision, just as it is my own decision to have some drinks sometimes or to have taco fries. So, but yeah, I am heavier than I was in 2024 at this time. I've done more fasting this year, which has definitely improved my metabolic health. I feel brilliant. Am I worried about the weight stuff? Yeah, I would like to be slimmer. And I have realized that eating keto 5 or 6 times a day you're not going to keep the weight off. So that was one of the things I wasn't sure about, is if I ate keto more often, then would I still stay very slim? You have to eat it in smaller amounts. I'm a devil for the big portions. So if you are going to eat keto, it would want to be in smaller amounts, like some lettuce for breakfast or something. I still don't eat breakfast. I just have coffee with cream. I don't eat very many eggs. Eggs are great actually for keeping off the weight. Eggs are great for keeping off the weight. I'm not a mad egg lover. I never was. I do cook a lot of eggs in this house, but I don't eat them for the most part. But they are good for keeping off the weight. I went on a kind of a boiled egg stint, and really, really excellent, really excellent. But I just feel that the modern food that we have, even on keto, is not good enough. I do think we need supplements. So today, if you want, like I have done videos on supplements. People are usually not that interested. But today I just said I needed to say it because it is important. So peace out, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.